making this video just to touch on a few things. I've had some brothers who have YouTube channels who've been observing my videos, and they think that because of some of the videos and primarily some of most of my writings, a lot of them feel as though that I would be very useful and therefore effective if I give more of my time into the manosphere. But as I said before, I don't think that I'm qualified to go in that area, because despite my age, I have very little experience when it comes to relationships, and I'm just going to be open and honest. You know, out of my 60 years, I've only had like 3 serious relationships, and out of those 3 serious relationships, I was just sleeping around with a whole bunch of different people. You know, and so I'm just putting myself out there. Now, the serious relationships that I did have, I wasn't abusive or anything like that. But considering the generation that a whole lot of young men are dealing with right now, my upbringing and the women that I've dealt with, despite if those relationships worked out or not, those women and my upbringing were far more better than these women that you guys are dealing with this day. And so, due to the fact that I come up in another generation dealing with another type of woman and not dealing with the women that you guys are suffering today, I don't have any experience in this particular area with the women of these generations to include myself into the manosphere and sit on panels like Angry Man, who I look at his videos. I love Angry Man. I think he's phenomenally intelligent and honest. I love my brother Anton Daniels. I love Lapeef, Let's Talk, and Sister Crimson Cure. Oh my God. I mean, if I ever met her, I would just want to hug her, because I think she's brilliant. However, like I say, because of my age and because of my upbringing, I wasn't very popular with the girls in my neighborhood when I was coming up in Chicago. You know, so because of the way that I was looking, I was, you know, it took me a long time to grow into my look. It took me a while. As a matter of fact, I left Chicago, Illinois when I was 21 years old. Prior to that, I only had one relationship, and that was the Black and German girl that I met when I was going to school in Edinburgh, Indiana, when I was out there at Atterbury Job Corps. Now, after that relationship, I didn't really start getting into any other relationship until after I left Chicago and I moved to California for a little while. And then I went to Reno and I met my son's mother. So that was the second serious relationship. And after that, I got into a few other relationships. I would have to consider those serious relationships. It was just 2 more relationships. However, like I said before, those women who I had relationships with were nothing like what you guys are dealing with today. Now, the only way that I could even feel worthy sitting on a panel in terms of having enough insight into what you guys are dealing with right now, the only way that I would be useful on any panel as such, I would have to be put in a position to where I would have to compare what I experienced with what you're dealing with right now. Now, it's easy for I to have some insight on what you're dealing with right now in terms of this generation, but my insight will be very limited, because the type of women that are in this generation right now, I don't deal with them at all. I stay free from them because they're too mentally deranged, and I just don't like our women of this generation. I'm just gonna say that. I don't like the black women of today. This modern black women, you can go straight to hell. Okay, because I come up in a different generation to where you don't raise your voice at us. I'm an OG, and so there's just certain things that a whole lot of guys, I won't say guys of this generation, put up with currently, but they put up with it, I would have to say, between 5 to 10 years ago. But these guys are waking up today, and they're not putting up with it. The raising your voice, the lack of communication, the back talk, the violence, and all of that. When I was coming up, that just didn't go down. That just didn't go down. So this is one of the reasons why I don't really deal with modern black women today. Now, I date a couple of women. One is black and Irish. Her name is Queenie, and she's very sweet. And I'm not saying that she's better than most modern day black women because of her racial makeup. I'm just saying that it's her attitude. She's sweet. And there's another one that I date from time to time, and her name is Connie, and Connie is very sweet. See, everything is attitude, but the way that most of these women act today, all of this conflict, you want to argue and all of that, I'm not gonna put up with it. I'm not gonna put up with it for 2 seconds. Now I'm gonna share something with you. I went to pick up Connie one time. It was early in the morning. I said, okay, I'm gonna come by and pick you up so we can go to breakfast. So I went by, I picked her up. She was real quiet in the car. And as we're driving down the street called Boulder Highway, because she lived a little bit further out towards the mountains. And the way for me to get to her place, I had to go down the street called Boulder Highway. And so I was going down Boulder Highway. And after I picked her up, she got in the car. She was quiet. And I asked her, I'm like, so how you doing this morning? She said, I'm good. And so I didn't argue with her. And she said, why you asking me that? I put my left signal on, a U-turn. She said, where we going? So I'm dropping you off at home. She said, why you taking me back home? I said, that shit that you just did, I don't do that. No, I'm just asking your question. I'm just answering your question. No, I'm good. I'm gonna drop you off and I'll talk to you later. I dropped her off. She didn't, I pulled her in front of her place. She was just looking at me and said, David, I didn't mean. I reached over, I opened up the car door, pushed it out. I said, get your ass out my car right now. Because I meant what I said. You take your attitude back upstairs. I said, I don't know what's going on with you, and I really don't care what's going on with you. But I haven't done anything to you to deserve being in that type of environment. Get away from me. And so she got out the car and I closed the door and I went on about my business. And I told her, look, you're a younger woman, okay? Connie is in her late 30s, but I don't care if she's in her late 30s. It's the attitude that I can do without. And I would tell any brother out there, whether you're my age or younger, or even older, if you have a woman that brings about stress, get away from her. Because stress, like they say, is the silent killer. You don't have to put up with it. Now, if you've done something, and if she approaches you with a problem, then that doesn't imply that you have to argue about it. We can discuss it, but I'm not going to argue about anything. I'm not going to argue about anything. And it seems like today, this is all black women want to do, is just argue. And so it's not that I can't handle it. I can handle it. It's just that you have enough more qualified people, like the brothers that I mentioned, and the woman, Sister Crimson Cure. I think they're doing a phenomenal job, and I don't think that I'm needed in the manosphere. Because if you look at my videos my videos deal with a whole lot of areas in life that is psychological, emotional, and my writings deal with a whole lot of other matters. Things that I've learned by way of my education of coming up in Chicago, and by way of what I've learned overseas, and just simple the life journey. I just observed a whole lot of things, and I've learned a whole lot. And so, according to the way that I feel about things, I really don't have time for all of that stuff. That petty stuff. I don't have time for any nigga shit. I'm just gonna flat out say that. Don't have time for it. Okay? I'm not gonna live out my latter years talking about the problems that we are having with black women, because if you ask me, these modern day black women are not worth being discussed. Me personally, that's just the way I feel about it. I'm not interested in saving them. There are other people in the manosphere who discuss the dysfunctions of black women and black men. Now I will work with younger black men, but I have a problem with younger black women because I can't really communicate with them, because every time I try to advise them, they asking me for my number and they want to get romantically involved, because that's where most of their thinking process derives, in that area. But at the same time, like I say, I'm all over the place right now because I'm in a rush. But I'm not interested in the manosphere. My life is evolving consistently, going in other areas. My whole thing is getting my books out, get my audio books and everything out. I'm in the process of writing this series about social engineering that was part of my last video. And I'm going to write series, and I'm going to write books, because I've had enough setbacks in my life by way of family issues and other things that I've had to deal with. Now I'm finally getting myself in a position to where I can actually concentrate properly, because I've been going through a whole lot of healing. And so I've learned a whole lot, and I came to find out that my primary setbacks in life has always been dealing with the wrong women, worry, dealing with the effects of being hurt from my family and everything. And instead of sitting around dwelling in all of those things in terms of what I've been through with my family, I've healed from those things. And so by me talking to a whole lot of young men and young women, I feel that most of the things that I've been through is simply because I've learned a whole lot and I've survived those things. Most of my videos are dealt with the fact that I've survived it, and I've survived it enough to where I feel that I'm able to give some good insight into a whole lot of areas. And in some of the videos, I try to give a down-to-earth understanding of the message that Yahshua was trying to tell the word based upon humanity. So I go, I won't say go out my way, but I go into the Bible and his life, and I try to make it as close to everyday living as possible. Now, a whole lot of people may say, well, he don't know what he's talking about. Well, that's only because you don't understand the language. You don't understand the message, because most people who deal with religion, they want to put his message way up in the clouds, and they teach it in such a way that the common human being can't relate to it in their real life. What I struggle to do is to explain to people that his message was very down to earth, so that when you read the Bible or concentrate on what he said, you'll be able to relate to it in everyday living. Now, if someone is teaching you something or sharing some information with you to where you can't utilize that in everyday living, I wouldn't even mess with it. But in that particular area that was mentioned, some of the messages. That's why I talk about Yeshua, and I touch on religion here and there. But other than that, like I say, I would rather not get caught up in the whole manosphere thing, because I don't care enough about it, and all at the same time, I don't feel as though I'm qualified, because I come from a whole different type of background. And so with all that being said, I have to get out of here because I have a lot of things to do before I start heading to work. And I just wanted to make this quick video right quick to clarify some of the messages and phone calls that I had got today. But you just never know. Sooner or later, I may be on somebody's panel. But right now, I don't feel as though that my interest is strong enough to be pulled up on somebody's panel. And I think that it would be disrespectful, because I'm not as interested in what the manosphere is talking about. And like I said, I feel as though we have enough people who are qualified in order to deal with matters in that area. So with that being said, everybody stay human, and everybody enjoy